Madlanga briefing the media on the work the Commission is tasked to in terms of investigating allegations made by Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Of course, Justice Madlanga concluding that briefing saying that he says the work has already started, and importantly that the first briefing with the witness has already been scheduled. He has confirmed the commission will be held in Gauteng. He would not, however, be drawn into whether KwaZulu-Natal Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi would, but has confirmed that the imminent consultation is going to be with Mkhwanazi, introducing their high-level team that he will be working on the commission, also saying, of course, that they will try and stick to those timeframes as much as possible, hoping that within the first 3 months to submit an interim report with recommendations. Let's now bring in for more on this political analyst, Professor Sethulego Matebesi from the University of the Free State. Prof, a very good afternoon to you and thank you so much for your time. So let's discuss then this media briefing. Justice Madlanga there saying that work has already started in as far as the first briefing with the witness has already been scheduled. He's also introduced, as we've heard there, appointments for the high-level team that will assist the Commission, including advocates SC Sesi Baloyi and Sandile Kumalo, as well as advocates Terry Mutau, SC also, as well as who will then be the chief evidence leader, as we've heard there. Other high-profile team includes advocates Adila Hassan, as well as Matthew Chaskelson, among others. Let's first get your thoughts and impressions on that first briefing and the level of confidence one should have in terms of just how this process will then be unfolding.
Yes, good afternoon, Onati, and good afternoon to your viewers. We are accustomed to this. All commissions of inquiry always begin on a similar note, a lot of fanfare and all that, and hopefully, in as much as we can see how much confidence those that have been appointed to lead this commission exudes, we can only hope that this will lead to tangible outcomes where actions can be taken. But it is good for South Africa so that this is not a long issue that is standing, forever without action being taken.
Especially when you consider just the terms of reference, and I'm going to just mention one, emphasizing that the Commission will have the power to summon witnesses and compel the production of documents, conduct search and seizure operations subject to and applicable to the law, and refer matters for immediate criminal investigation and urgent decision on prosecution. I mean, there are wide-ranging and far-reaching, but Justice Madlanga did say in that briefing, and he couldn't answer whether there will be arrests at the end of this process.
It's very difficult. I mean, we can't preempt what will be the outcome of the commission, but for me, what is very commendable is that the commission will have powers to subpoena. And I think most commissions had those powers. But here also, instead of now waiting to write a report where some recommendations can already be taken to the police to say this is potential for criminal investigations, that for me will be quite telling, because we all know what happens with the reports of commissions of inquiry. It will go to the president, and the president will take his time, will have to reflect on that particular report, and only then perhaps share or take South Africans into confidence. So all these other measures that have built into the work, the processes of this particular commission are quite commendable, and one can just hope that it will once and for all at least lay this particular matter to rest.
And I mean, just talking about the timelines, he did say, admitting that the timelines are quite tight, but saying that the terms of reference do allow them to apply for an extension. Just looking at, some of those timelines, we know, of course, that the Commission will file these two reports to President Ramaphosa, one after 3 months and the second after 6 months, which will then include also recommendations that can be immediately actioned. I mean, the Commission's final report will be sent then to the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Chief Justice. In this particular case, we have this commission, but we also have other processes that are currently underway in the National Assembly. I mean, how confident there in terms of just what we've heard now from, Justice Madlala, as well as these processes that are also happening interchangeably?
No, I mean, these are two separate processes. First of all, in terms of the timeframes are very tight, and we can all see that. I mean, that is for the public to see. But I think the president also found himself under tremendous pressure to demonstrate leadership and hence perhaps the timeframes that have been provided. But fortunately for the commission, they can apply. But let us just hope it's also not going to be yet again those situations where a year from now we still have to wait for the final report.
And I mean, just looking at some of the allegations, I mean, the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into Police will probe whether criminal syndicates have infiltrated or even exerted perhaps undue influence over several other law enforcement state organs, including, of course, the SAPS, amongst others. When we look at just how serious these allegations are and far-reaching, I mean, as a South African public, what are we to make in terms of just the state of affairs, particularly in some of these state organs that are meant to provide safety and security to the country?
Anati and South Africans, if this was in any other country, action would have been taken against those that have been mentioned. And in such instances, you don't even need to have credible evidence to be able to start action on this. For me, without those that have been mentioned having been found guilty. But this is definitely a case that I would say you don't need to be a legal mind. It's high treason, because the moment if you've got criminals who are now dictating to those who need to protect South Africans, what does that tell us? Especially if you look at the high rate of crime in South Africa, the high murder rate, South Africans are living under tremendous stress that to try and secure themselves on a daily basis. And I think under those circumstances, very difficult for South Africans to accept what is going on.
Absolutely. And I mean, we just received earlier on in the afternoon the fact that, President Cyril Ramaphosa releasing the statement in terms of significant progress made in implementing just other works that have been done in commissions. I mean, it does come amid a lot of distrust in as far as these commissions are concerned that we've seen in recent past. I mean, the statement there released on the 28th of July, which is today, saying that significant progress has been made in implementing state capture recommendation and that the president is releasing the latest report on the progress that has been made. I mean, what do we then, how do we see and gain confidence in these commissions if at all we're not going to be seeing any sort of accountability in a timeless fashion, particularly when you look at the Zondo Commission in this regard?
No, one always have to ask why today, and is this now coming at the backdrop of Zondo skating remarks about ministers and other public representatives being sworn in, that he had to sworn in, which has been implicated. But I mean, if you're the president of a country, it's very difficult because you will have to act on evidence in front of you. But in general, I don't think your average or typical South African has trust in the ability of commissions of inquiry to lead to tangible action being taken against those who are implicated. What we are good at is to identify the problems, to identify the culprits, but it seems as if be better to take action against those that are implicated.
I mean, the presidency's statement reads, "We have recovered nearly 11 billion in stolen public funds, strengthened our law enforcement capacity, and implemented comprehensive reform across government." These follows, of course, this commission. What do you make of government's, communication strategy, particularly around serious matters of concern in this country that speak to corruption? Because, I mean, this comes a little too late once, of course, there are these explosive allegations that have come to the fore.
Yes, most definitely. If you look at the situation, is that you don't need to wait for allegations being peddled against the government of the day to be able to make a response. The government needs to take South Africans into confidence almost on a daily basis, not only daily basis, but even if it's on a monthly basis, in terms of progress that have been made. We already have a commission, the TRC commission. Millions and millions of rands have been spent on that commission, and here we've got a situation where we now have to see why and investigate why that particular commission's recommendations are not implemented. And the question is, will the same not apply to this particular commission?